Welcome to episode number 4 of JCV Grand Valley Railroad. The first couple updates I've done really haven't shown you a whole lot, just basically this foam setup with all these risers and stuff. But this episode here is a pretty big update in terms of the progress that we've made making this thing. So today we've added on the extra 2x4s to the left side of the table, as you can see. We did them up top, but you can't really see it back here. And we also added them on to the right side of the table, as well as I put foam down on the sides, the front, and there's foam around the back. And I added that third loop that I've talked about doing. So I actually had enough risers to do it. I didn't have to go get any more. I had to use a small incline on the back, which you can see there in the back corner of the mountain, but there's also risers coming up in the back of the mountain too. So that shouldn't be too big of a deal to take care of and get the train rolling. So yeah, everything's glued down here in terms of the third loop. That bridge isn't secure. I just have it there because, like I said in the last episode, when we were moving it, that piece got busted out. So I bought another bridge and I'm just gonna add it on. So no big deal. But this is what we're working with here, all down the back side and around. I did forget about cutting this piece out here to add a bridge, so I'm gonna cut that. I do have the Woodland Scenics foam cutter. That thing really helped me out here cutting this foam on the side of the table. I don't know if anybody's ever seen or have one, but this thing right here is just a foam cutter, and you push up and hold that yellow little button there, and this thing just slices right through like butter. It's an awesome tool to have. Definitely something that you need to have in order to have this thing built up. But that's where we're at now. So at some point during this week, I'm going to get some plaster down on this loop, so that when my buddy Thomas comes over this weekend, he's supposed to come over Saturday, we can get some foam laid down and, well, not foam, but the road bed for the track, and get some track laid down, mess with that little up and under that we're gonna do here. I don't know how we're gonna do this. I watched a few videos on Dan's Grand Valley Railroad where he talked about doing this, but I guess I'm worried about this other intersection right here and how that's gonna play into things and us keeping up with the pace that we wanna do. So if that becomes too much of a burden, then we'll just leave it as is, use the cross tracks. I know they said that you can really only have one train running on here without babysitting it, and they'll eventually collide. But I'm not too worried about having 3 trains running at the same time. If I can do it, that would be awesome. I got this third loop here added on, so you can't really be too upset with it if you can do it or you can't. But I think we'll be able to do it. Thomas seems to know his stuff way more than me. Lucky that I found and met this guy to help us out here and get us rolling. So, yeah, it is just still a bunch of foam and plaster, but huge progress has been made as opposed to what I've been doing with this thing for the last 3 years. So finally getting that done. Like I said, everything's glued in with the glue gun on there, and you can see I already laid plaster on a lot of this. Again, if you watched the last episode, I said that I kind of left a lot of this alone in terms of putting plaster on there, because I don't know where we're going to come up and come down and come up and over. So I didn't want to waste more of that plaster and get more of it all over myself than I already did and made a bigger mess. It was a pain in the ass cleaning that up, but oh well, you live and you learn. Something that you got to do to figure it out. And yeah, I think the next step is maybe to take a little break from the plaster and set up some of the buildings that I have. Some of them, I have probably close to 15 of them from Woodland Scenics, and try to find out where we want to place those at, just to get a general idea on what we want to do there. Over in this area, I'm probably going to remove that back piece there and just have this one coming down with a few loading buildings here and put some box cars there that can look like they're getting loaded up by some workers or whoever will be over there, and have a couple buildings in the back there, and who knows what we'll end up doing. But just, I'm very happy. I'm excited to finally get this thing rolling and to see what we can do and come up with and how nice we can make this thing look. I will say with this plaster, I don't think it's going to matter too much on the risers and the track, but I have noticed a lot of people when they build this and they put it along the sides for their mountain, you can see all these little dimples that show up on the plaster when you're building that stuff. The best advice I can give you on how to stop that from happening so you don't see it after you paint and all that is to just keep smoothing it out when you lay it down, or put more water on it. I had a bunch of that dust all caught in a pan that I was using, so I was getting little pinches of the dust and sprinkling it over and just smoothing it out. That's one way to get rid of that. I try to do the best I could on the foam risers for the track, even though it's going to be covered up and not matter. But I kind of want to experimented with it to see how much of a pain that was going to be, or if it was, going to be a task to do that. But it was pretty easy. It's just you got to do a little bit more work for it. So hopefully this stuff isn't too not level. So we don't got to do too much work to it whenever Thomas gets over here, and we can just kind of do minimal work to make sure that all these risers are level, so the track will be flat and run right. That's pretty much a big reason why I contacted him, to get him involved, because I've never done anything like this before, and I kind of wanted someone with some expertise to come help us and get this thing rolling so that we can start it. So we went to the train show today here in Pittsburgh at the Monroeville Expo Mart. That's very, very heavy O scale. If you do O scale, that's the place for you. If you don't do O scale, I probably wouldn't spend $11 to get in there to, go around and look at a bunch of stuff that you really can't use. But if you're O scale, you're good. If you're not, stick to the online stores or eBay or wherever else you get your stuff from. But yeah, again, thanks for tuning in. Hit the like and subscribe button. Follow along. Any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, anything you guys want to add in, feel free to do it. I will not be offended at anything you guys want to recommend that we do, because again, I'm learning. If you're learning too, you're going to learn along right with us, because I'm going to document this and hopefully make it a little bit easier on someone that might be starting out in this, that is just kind of as nervous as I was. So here we go. We're going to get this thing started this week, and hopefully we'll have a bunch of progress for you. Maybe I'll put an update in when we get all our buildings laid out to see how we want to do it, and then how it ends up actually going on here whenever we're finished, if we change anything or we keep it the same. All right, guys, take it easy.